Someone just woke up from his nap. Say hi. Who's that? He still has a tired face. Anyway, so this is going to be the start of Euan's update. I have been procrastinating doing this update for such a long time because I have so much to update on, and just Daddy's making silly faces. But yeah, I have so much to update on that I was kind of overwhelmed by how much I just really had to update you on. So anyways, I am just going to tell you exactly how he's doing now, and I'm not going to worry about what I may or may not have said in previous videos, because some things I've said on Facebook and some things, you know, I haven't said. And anyways, I'm just going to tell you how he's doing. He is 17 months, and yeah, look, who is that? And he's handsome. He's a handsome boy. All right, go to Dad. So Euan is 17 months old. I cannot believe that he is already 17 months old. He's almost a year and a half old. That is craziness. That is absolutely crazy. I can't even get my mind around it. But he, as far as growth is concerned, he is doing great now. He's not having any kind of the growth issues that he was having around the 5, 6, 7 month area. He's doing great. He's gaining weight at an appropriate rate. He is small, but he's in about the 30 to 40th percentile for his weight, and about the same for height as well, so he's a bit short. But his head, it was like in the 80th percentile or something like that when we went, I think he was 13 months when we went to the pediatrician last. And yeah, so he's got a big old head on this teeny tiny body, which I think is hilarious. He's just my little guy, but yeah, growth, he's doing really great. He is still breastfeeding. I did a breastfeeding update. I think he was 13 months when I did a breastfeeding update, and as of right now, he is still breastfeeding. So I won't get into a whole lot about breastfeeding specifics. If you would like to hear more specific stuff about breastfeeding, you can let me know. Maybe I'll do a video on how he's doing now at 17 months, but he is still breastfeeding on demand when he would like it, and but he's eating foods as well. I mean, he eats really great. He's not picky about probably 90% of the foods that I feed him. He does really not like eggs, like scrambled eggs or fried eggs or boiled egg. He will eat like egg salad if I put it in an egg salad sandwich, but he won't eat just like eggs for breakfast kind of thing. I think it's the texture, I'm not exactly sure, but he doesn't care for that. And cheese, he doesn't like cheese. He has had pizza maybe a handful of times, and he won't eat the cheese off the top. If I give him just, you know, little pieces of cheese or like cheese strings, he won't eat that either. No, those are the only two things that he's really picky on. Other than that, he loves all fruits and vegetables that I can think of. He loves blueberries the most, is his favorite fruit, and bananas. And he, for vegetable, peas are by far his favorite food. So that's really good. So yeah, he just eats everything. He doesn't have any kind of allergy to milk or milk products or dairy products, or so it seems. When we first started introducing cow's milk, just after he turned a year old, with his meals, I started giving him cow's milk, and he started spitting up and he started being fussy, and so I thought, oh, he might be having a reaction to dairy. So I cut it out and he stopped spitting up, and I switched him over to, I gave him almond milk for a while, and I did try soy milk for a while. But I didn't really care to give him either of those things. I've heard some good and not so good things about soy, and almond milk just didn't have the protein levels that I wanted him to have. Like when you compare it to milk, almond milk just didn't have enough protein in it. So what I was giving him instead of cow's milk was actually my breast milk. I have a freezer stash still there, and I was going to be donating the milk, but I ended up not doing that, and so I just was giving him my breast milk. So I mean, that's great, it's being used. But then I just decided to try him with the cow's milk again, and homogenized cow's milk, and now he seems to be fine with it. He has it with all of his meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and usually for snacks he'll have just water. But yeah, it doesn't seem to upset his stomach at all. I think what happened was it was such a drastic shift that his stomach just couldn't handle it, and I think he's just, pardon me, sorry about that, phone rang. But yeah, anyways, I believe that the reason why he was getting an upset stomach when I first introduced cow's milk was because he just wasn't used to it. And so his stomach would get upset. But now that he is like eating everything and his stomach is like used to getting solid foods, I think that he's okay now. So that's really great. Yeah, that's as far as his eating and breastfeeding is concerned. Oh, and I forgot to mention, to do with food and eating and that, his teeth. So at 8 months, at the 8-month update that I did, he still didn't have any teeth, and it wasn't shortly after that he cut his first tooth, which was actually not his front tooth on the bottom or the top. It was actually his top right, yes, his top right canine, I guess it is, the one right beside the front two. That was his first one, and then he got that one first, and then he cut the top two and the bottom two all within 6 days. All within 6 days. I couldn't believe that many teeth that came in all at that one time. It was amazing. The drool that was coming out of this kid was just crazy. So much drool. But yeah, so that's what happened first, and then so he had those 5 teeth, and then just up until recently he had the 4 and 4, so he had 8 teeth, and then I think just last week he cut his first molars on the top, 1 on each side. So he still only has the 4 on the bottom, none back here, and so he has the 4 on the top and 1 on each side back here. So that's teeth. I am the mother of a child with 10 teeth. I can't believe it. So as far as like his movement and stuff like that, he started crawling when he was about 8 months. Started pulling himself up at that time as well, but it took him a while to actually start walking. He would kind of take a couple of like little tiny steps, but like he would fall immediately around 11 months. And I think he took maybe like 1 actual step before he turned 12 months, but it was actually a week after he turned 12 months, 1 year old, that he actually started walking, and he has been go ever since. Like, he is running all over the place now, and now he climbs things. Just the other day he started climbing up on the dining room chairs and trying to get up on the table, and so he can't be left alone in the dining room anymore because he's gonna jump, or he's gonna get up onto the table and then he's just gonna fall. But he climbs up on the couches, and he's just constantly climbing and constantly having to be watched because he's just a monkey little boy. He's so active. He has 1 nap during the day, but besides that nap, he is go all day long. So yeah, and since he started walking, it's just been so crazy. I remember when he started crawling thinking, oh my god, he's so busy, but then walking happened and oh my goodness, it's just, he's a going concern. And yeah, I mean, I don't mind, because I don't know, I just kind of figure being active is a good thing because he's exploring and he's discovering, and so that's great. But yeah, it is. Mommy looks forward to his nap in the afternoon, probably more than he looks forward to his nap in the afternoon. So speaking of naps and sleep, his sleep. He now does really well with sleep. He does sleep through the night now, and the reason that he does is because at about 11 months, at that point, he was still being nursed to sleep. He could not fall asleep unless he fell asleep on the breast or in the car. And he was getting up 2 and 3 times through the night to nurse, and sometimes he wouldn't fall back asleep. And my fallback kind of thing that I would do if he couldn't fall asleep on the breast is I would put him up kind of upright, and he would have his head kind of on my shoulder. Sorry about that, my camera shut off for a second. Anyway, so I kind of put him up like this, and I would just kind of bounce. and that's how he would fall asleep, and then I would put him down. But there was no way that I could put him down in his crib awake and he would be able to fall asleep. It just wouldn't happen. So when my go-to method of, you know, kind of bouncing him like this stopped working and he wasn't falling asleep on the breast, he was just so exhausted because he couldn't fall asleep on his own and he needed to like fall asleep on me, and I was exhausted because I was spending so much time trying to get him to fall asleep that I wasn't sleeping, and we were just both exhausted. And so while I didn't mind nursing him to sleep at all when it worked, it was kind of one of those if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of situations. Once that did break and he wasn't falling asleep like he should be, we needed to change it up. And how we changed it up was we did a little bit of the cry it out method. It wasn't full on cry it out. I didn't just put him in his crib and let him cry until he fell asleep. I nursed him until he was almost asleep, and then I would put him down, and if he would cry, I would let him cry for just a couple of minutes, and then I'd go in and I'd comfort him and lay him back down and then step out, and then if he continued to cry, I'd go back in after a couple of minutes, and I would continue to do this until he fell asleep. The first time it took probably about 45 minutes for him to actually fall asleep, and I was probably crying harder than he was in the other room watching him on the baby monitor. I felt so bad, but I knew that it was just what we had to do. Once he did fall asleep, that was the first night that he ever slept through the night. He slept for a solid 9 hours, and I could not believe it. And I didn't sleep through the night because I was like waking up waiting for him to get up. But yeah, he slept through the night, 9 hours that very, very first night. So that was great. And then it took 3 more days of doing it at his nap, his one nap during the day, and at night doing this routine of nursing him till he was settled but not asleep, but just settled and tired, laying him down. And then if he would cry, I would go in after a couple of minutes. I wouldn't leave it longer than 5 minutes. I'd go in after 2 minutes or 3 minutes and then up to 5 minutes, and that's as long as I could do. So yeah, that lasted just for I think 3 or maybe 4 days. I think 3 days, but on the 4th day he just cried for like a minute and then he was out. And then it's been working, and he's been sleeping through the night ever since. And he goes down for his nap in the afternoon. Just perfectly, and we are both more sane because of it. I was just not functioning because I was so tired, and he was so tired, and so he would be cranky because he just wanted sleep. And now because he gets a good night's sleep, like once we did that, once he learned how to fall asleep on his own, he hasn't woken up through the night, and so he gets a good night's sleep through the night, and he has a nice long 2-hour nap in the afternoon, and it's just been great ever since then. And I was really against the cry it out method, even though ours is like a bit modified, I guess. I don't know what the full cry it out method entails, but this is just kind of what worked for us. I was really just not wanting to do that, but something needed to change, and so that's what we ended up doing. So I'm sorry if that's something that you don't agree with, but that's what we did. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the only thing that is concerning me about Euan. Nothing really concerns me about him as far as his health is concerned. His developmental milestones seem to be pretty good. He, you know, can pick out things in books, and he can follow simple directions. Like I tell him to go get this or go get that, or where's daddy or where's whatever, and he, you know, knows where all the people are, and he can point to them, and he points at cats and dogs and stuff in books. But he's actually not talking at all yet. He says dad, and he says mum, 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 but it doesn't mean, like, mum, mum, mum doesn't mean me. And dad is actually anyone that he's talking to. It could be me, it could be Jason, it could be my dad, you know, my mom, my grandmother, it could be anybody. He'll just yell dad. But the other thing that he does is anything that he wants you to look at, he'll go tss, or k, k. It's usually k, and he'll point at whatever it is that he wants you to look at. But that's all that he's doing. And I'm a bit concerned because I feel like he should have like some words. at 17 months. But I know he's a boy, and you know, everyone says that boys talk later, and I'm trying to keep that in mind, but I can't deny the fact that it does worry me. So we actually do have another appointment with the pediatrician on January 21st to talk about how he's not talking, and I actually have already been in contact with a speech pathologist. Unfortunately, since it's not a private clinic, it's like government or whatever, the waiting list for it is 12 months. So I put Euan on the list, I think a month ago or 2 months ago. And if it comes time, you know, in 12 months time that, you know, I'm not concerned anymore and he's talking up a storm, then I'll just take myself off the list. But I thought that I should get myself on the list now, just to be on the safe side. So we'll see what happens as far as his talking is concerned. He does kind of babble even more. He's been babbling the whole, like, for probably, I don't know, it seems like forever. But just probably in the last 2 weeks, his babbles have kind of started sounding like little sentences that don't make sense. So I'm thinking that it's like gonna happen, and I'm not as concerned about it now as I was, say, a month ago. But yeah, he's still not talking, so we'll see. Before you know it, I'll be telling him to be quiet, you know. And someone on Facebook said to me a couple of times, because I posted a couple of times, that I was worried about the fact that he wasn't talking, and they said, you know, how many 7-year-olds do you know that can't talk? And that's absolutely true, you know, like, he will eventually talk. I don't think that it's like he's learning, I don't think he has a learning problem with speaking. I don't know if I said that right, but you know what I mean. I just think that he's lazy. And he doesn't need to talk. He can just go and point at what he wants to, and that's all he has to do. So I think that's more to the point of what's going on here than actually he doesn't know how to talk, if you know what I'm saying. Anyways, so that's all that I can think of to update you on Euan. Overall, he's doing great. He's a happy, healthy little boy, and he's looking more like a little boy every day. He has a mullet. That's one thing that I'll add in there. He has no hair on the sides practically, just right here is like right bald. But then the back is, you know, just flowing ever so nicely, but not ready to cut his hair just yet. Not ready to cut his hair. I think it'll probably be a while before I break down and cut his hair, but it's a mullet for now. Oh well. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of anything else to update you guys on. So if you have any questions, as always, you can leave them below or you can send me a private message. But yeah, other than that, I will see you next time. Bye!